Everybody, welcome to the Amazing Reviews, Amazing Race 37, Episode 1 review. Joining me tonight is none other than Calbert. Calbert, how's it going?
What's going on, everybody?
Um, we will not be joined by Goldberg this week. He will be back next week. He has not watched the first episode yet, but he will be back to give his thoughts. Definitely looking forward to hearing that because he's always got some interesting takes on the teams and whatnot.
True.
So, Calbert, episode 1, I thought it was pretty exciting, actually. What did you think?
I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. The most teams we've ever had in the Amazing Race. I liked it. It was a pretty good first episode. Kept my attention.
Yes. You never know with first episodes how they're going to go. I thought they did an okay job at getting everybody on screen, but 14 teams, that's a lot to cover.
True.
So some teams didn't get a ton of airtime. Other teams got a decent amount, but I thought they did the best they could with having that many teams. So yeah, I thought it was a good first episode. Definitely looking forward to this season, and it has that feel to it, whereas I never thought season 36 ever really got there with me. Like, it was still the Amazing Race, but it was like there was stuff missing. I just really like the airport drama. I think that's part of the game,
Yeah, and we saw with one team in particular. Oh, golly gee, look, it was mine. Big lead, and watched it all evaporate in the span of what seemed like 10 minutes, but it probably wasn't. Interesting, very interesting to see him back at the airport and kind of strategizing. Okay, which one should we take? So.
Yeah, I definitely got to give it to your team, though. They seem like the most competitive team.
They really
One
do.
of the most competitive teams.
They really do.
They also seem like they could be an explosive dynamite, ready to burst at any minute.
They could.
So, yeah. No, go ahead.
Especially Jonathan, because he was disappointed even on the map. I'm jumping ahead a little bit. He was disappointed on the map for doing well. I like that. Yeah. I like that competitive style, though. I like that. That's like, okay, we're here for business. It's not it's cool to travel the world, but we're here with an agenda and attention to detail. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the positives you can take away is they waste no time trying to get directions when they have downtime. Right. Stuff that I noticed two times that they were really like, okay, what do we got to do? In the taxi, they were trying to get, look up the phone. And then when they got to the gate for the ferry, they went to McDonald's, try asking customers, hey, where is this place? Just so they know where they're going.
With a hand drawing. Okay, like, we got to get off here. I like that part too. Like, that's old school, so.
Yep. They did they're very competitive. I will say, though, if something doesn't go their way, they seem like they're going to have a freak out episode at some point.
True.
A couple of backstories about the teams we drafted is your team was separated for a year.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was kind of, oh, wow. That's an interesting wrinkle that really wasn't shared when we did the review,
Yeah, true.
So, but who knows? I mean, they're competitive. That's all you really can ask for. They're not going to go down, they're not going to go down laying down. So,
right.
Yeah. So I thought that was a pretty good touch. Thing with my team that I really liked is, oh boy, I forgot her name. Hold up. I got to look it up now because I don't want to get it wrong here, but,
Alyssa?
Here we go. Alyssa. Alyssa's a D1 soccer player.
Yeah.
That kind of makes things a little different for my team. I had no idea she was a D1 soccer player. I feel a lot better because now I know she's pretty athletic. And Josiah seems like he's got a pretty fun personality. So I'm actually pretty happy with the team I picked, just because of the fact that, I've had some teams in the past where they not really had the, biggest personalities. But if you got a team that's usually good and has a good personality, that's like a double plus, So it's easy to root for your team. But another interesting note that I want to say before we really dive in the episode is I thought the podcasters, I think we mentioned this last week where we didn't rate them super high, but then we also said this team could be good. They could be good, but I feel like they're a lot more than just or I'm sorry, not the podcasters, the Switch, the game streamers.
Oh, the streamers.
I think, I'm sorry. The streamers, I think they're a lot better than what I was kind of giving them credit for, because I said last week that they could be a good team, and I think they are going to be a good team. So I think they got more skills than I was kind of giving credit for, but hard to know with just a picture and a description of what they do. So
Sure.
And I think we absolutely nailed the firefighters.
We did get that right. Hey, we got one right.
We did. We absolutely nailed that. And I think we've been burned by firefighters so much, no pun intended, that we're just not going back to that well ever again.
Right.
So, but I mean,
and the age did play a factor.
Absolutely. First episode, 2 of the oldest teams out.
Yep.
And that's, I don't think that's a coincidence.
Mm-mm.
I really don't. I mean, it probably is not great that they got a physical challenge right away, but still, So, okay. Anything you want to mention coming out of the start, going to the airport, any of the airport drama? I just got a little tidbit with this, but what are your thoughts?
I mean, I thought it was all right. It was, you got there first, you're pretty much on the first flight. If you didn't if you didn't get there within the first, basically first half hour, you were going to be on the second flight. And I did think it was interesting, though, that the second flight did technically land earlier than the first flight did by time, even though they landed a half hour before they were supposed to. The second flight did, compared to the first flight. I mean, it wasn't terrible, right? But it was noticeable.
Yeah, that's what makes the game really, really fun. Well, to be fair, I think what I saw on the graphic was the first flight was 18 minutes late.
Yeah.
And the second flight was 11 minutes early.
Yeah.
So if we're going by an hour, that's about 31 minutes difference. So that's not that huge of a gap, honestly. And obviously it showed, because every single team was on this, was on that ferry. But I guess let's talk about the roadblock. We had the climbing of the bamboo sticks, and in Hong Kong. Well, okay. Actually, we're kind of jumping ahead. There is one thing that we definitely have to discuss. Oh boy, I'm still kind of getting familiar with the names here, but I gotta say, Courtney and Jasmine, the nurses, the dating nurses, could not get a taxi to save their life.
No, they could not.
What do you think the issue was?
It was language barrier. It really was. Especially well, I think they figured it out too. They were like, okay, after and they must have asked a dozen. So I stopped counting after. Seriously, I stopped counting after 6.
Yes.
Because every cab driver was saying no, because they weren't pronouncing the location correctly. Which any cab driver is going to do that. You got to pronounce it at least. You could hand them the sheet, and the sheet tells them, but they're like, no, you're not saying it right. I'm not going to take you.
Yeah.
I mean,
obviously it's pretty intimidating if you're have
certainly.
no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I just that was something though. I don't think I've ever seen it that bad. Like where they could not get a taxi for seemed like hours, I'm sure.
And it wasn't like the cabs weren't stopping. I mean, every cab stopped for them. They were just like, no, one said like, I can't, I have a person coming, but like otherwise everybody else was like, no, like, so I mean, at least they figured it out, because I was worried, because I was like, they're in trouble.
Yeah, they were. I mean, it was close to that, Matt.
Yeah.
It was very close going to the end, but man, that was one of the worst taxi issues I think I've seen in a while. And that's just trying to get a taxi.
Yeah.
Not even like driving to the wrong location or anything.
True.
So, yeah, that was wow. That was something. But yeah. Anyways, I guess we should probably talk about like where every team kind of went. So we started off obviously in Hollywood. So the episode was called Double the Stakes, Double the Eliminations. They started off in Los Angeles, California, the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures. Then they had to fly to Hong Kong, and then they had to go to Tiantan Buddha, and then Central Piers, and then Chung Chau Ferry Pier. So they had to do the first roadblock where one team member had to climb a Chung Chau Bun Festival bamboo tower at the Pak Tai Temple playground and retrieve their next clue from the top. So your team obviously went with Jonathan's wife, which was Anna. Anna did it, and I thought she did pretty good, actually.
I was like, oh, it's going to suck with the rain, because it started to really come down when she kind of started. And I was like, okay, because I was looking at the contraption going like, okay, I know that's bamboo. Like, I know it's like, but I was like, I don't know how the heck they're going to get up there other than obviously climbing it. But I was like, with the rain, that's gonna flat out suck. And it flat out sucked. Thank God they were the only ones there.
Yeah, absolutely. They were, I mean, they booked it there, honestly.
Yeah, they did.
I think the game streamers were, they were close, but clearly the taxi got Jonathan and Anna there a lot quicker. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I thought she did a really good job at climbing the bamboo in the rain. That was pretty solid.
Yeah, I thought so.
But yeah, so I don't know. Like, to start off, they were looking pretty good. Yeah. So I think I do like your team. I just think they're both kind of type A personalities.
Yep.
And I think that may clash. But I think as long as they do well,
right,
they should be a formidable team.
Right.
Another thing about the climbing task, I think I got to go with Brett and Mark, man. I mean, we knew they were going to be good, right? We knew they were going to be good.
Spider Monkey, absolutely.
Yeah, he was up there in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they're just. I just knew, like, with their occupations, like, that was a layup for them. I mean, unbelievable. Anything else about this roadblock that you wanna talk about that was interesting to you? What about the Lumberjacks? I know that's the team you kind of love to hate.
I'm gonna.
Or you kind of jobbed them out last week on the rankings. But
I
yeah.
Yep. I was wrong. I'll admit it. I was wrong. I was flat
well,
out
I
wrong.
don't think you were necessarily wrong. I don't think they had a real strong showing.
They did.
But I think you had them first out?
I did have them first out, yeah.
Okay.
I had the firefighter second out, so I mean, I wasn't like
yeah, you weren't too far off there.
But Yeah, I mean, I just thought the age was going to play a factor, and it did later in the episode for Pops.
Yeah.
At that particular moment, which I thought that was interesting too. I was like, why? I was like, why isn't the other one going? He's younger.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know.
Yep. I think the firefighters made a huge mistake too.
Yeah.
I think they should have absolutely did Sing.
Absolutely.
They would still be in this race.
Yeah.
Probably. I guess it could have switched a little bit if the other team that got eliminated, the Friends, if they would have gotten there, maybe they would have done dance. I don't know, but I think Sing would have probably benefited them. I know they can't sing, but man, a lot of the other teams couldn't sing either. So,
I mean, you're saying words you don't know. I mean, so like
exactly.
Not to embarrass yourself, not to embarrass the country you're in, and then try to be on some type of key. Yeah.
Correct. But Roadblock to start off, I thought was a pretty physical challenge. I think they definitely didn't make it easy for these teams. A lot of times we've seen the first episode where they really don't do much.
Yeah.
There's a few seasons where I can think of where they just kind of had an easy first leg, but this was a pretty physical challenge right off the bat. So yeah, I got to give it to the Lumberjacks though, because picking I'm not sure of the name, but the dad, picking him to go first, I think it was a smart move, because now you burn one of the more physical challenges with the older guy, and he was able to survive. So I think they made the right call there. I think my team made the smart choice with Josiah going. I think it was probably a good move to get to have him go. Really though, I don't think anybody really made any mistakes here with who decided to do this task. What do you think?
No, I thought that was right. My only that was my only gripe about the entire thing was having Pops go. I mean, realistically, having Pops go. Because which the other son, the son's name is Jeff, so they're both named Jeff. Great. I would have just had the son go, just because he might have gotten up there quicker. That's all. I'm not griping Pops one bit. Like when you're behind, you need to make as much time up as you can. And it rained harder as the day went on. So that was my only gripe. I didn't really have an issue with anybody that went. It was interesting. I'm trying to remember. I'm also learning the names too.
I agree with you with Pops in some regard. I think if this was later in the race, you definitely want Jeff to go first.
Yeah.
But since it's the first episode, you can burn, Pops doing one of the challenges and still not getting eliminated. I think that's actually not a bad idea, actually.
True.
I think now Jeff can do, maybe there's gonna be a lot more physical challenges down the line. And I think Pops can hold his own depending on depending on the challenge, of course. But he's in pretty good shape for his age. So
certainly. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so then let's go to the next part here. All right, so then teams then traveled to Central Piers, took the Sun Ferry. Oh, we already did that. I'm sorry. Then after the roadblock, teams found their next clue at the Loch Quan Street Park. Teams encountered the fork in the road and had to choose one of two routes to the pit stop. It was dance or sing. In dance, teams had to perform a short lion dance routine before receiving their next clue. In sing, teams had to perform a section of Cantonese opera, which involved singing in Cantonese before receiving their next clue. Each route had a limit of 7 teams, and teams had to reveal their choices for later arriving teams. So, what are you picking here, Calbert?
Well, now knowing what it was, I was also going to take sing.
Okay.
Originally, when I was like, okay, because I can't sing either. I can't really dance. I can dance a little, not much. But now knowing what it is, like dance, I mean, essentially, so for the audience at home, you were in a dragon costume and dance, and like you had to just kind of dance to the drum a little bit and move clockwise once, basically. Well, so one person had to be in the back, one person had to be in the front. I mean, so in hindsight, that was probably the easier of the two.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could, I mean, it looks like if you could hit sing, and which my team did, luckily, on the third try. If you could nail sing right away, it looked like you had a little bit of an advantage. So I would have done sing if I were standing there, not knowing how to pronounce the words. But dance was probably the easier of the two.
Yes, I agree. But the thing that also made it more compelling was the fact that you're not competing against anyone who didn't pick the same task as you. You're just competing against the people who picked that task. So that was really interesting to me.
True.
So whatever the other people did, you just didn't care. You had to get it done before at least one other team in your group. So
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So I think I would have, not knowing what I knew, I would have done sing.
Right.
Just because I just don't, I would have thought dance choreographs were tougher.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would have went sing. Obviously, I think the judge was a little more strict. So that was one of the things I think too. But let's talk about your team, Jonathan and Anna, because I think they had probably the biggest storyline here. So they were out in front. They didn't get everybody caught up to them on the ferry. But something happened on the way to the fork in the road. Did they get lost? I'm just confused. Like, how did they arrive so late?
I think they got lost because I was thinking, I was like, okay, because at this point now I'm agitated because I was like, they're sitting pretty. We can do selfies on the boat. We can look at the water. Isn't that pretty? To every single team caught up to them. To then I didn't see them for a good, seriously, as far as time goes, a good 20 minutes. I'm like, where did they go? Did they get lost? Did somebody fall? Are they hurt? But yeah, and then like a freaking daisy, they just came out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, there they are. What happened?
I know, and that's the thing, like, that I miss that the Amazing Race used to do is they used to release like hidden footage or like scenes that they didn't show on the show. They used to show it on YouTube, but they don't do that anymore.
Correct.
So like you don't always get the full gist of what happened. So clearly, I'm just going to say that they probably got lost.
I would guess.
There's no way you lose that much ground.
No.
Without getting lost.
Right.
I mean, obviously there was an equalizer there for the most part because of the fact that every team basically was there.
Right.
So, let's talk about the one team that really had some issues here, and Jackie and Lauren. What exactly happened to them? I mean, how did they get so far behind?
Well, so I mean, the fact of,
because I'm trying to remember here, they didn't have taxi problems, right?
No, they did not. I'm also trying to remember.
Did they get? I think they got lost.
They did get lost. They had trouble going down. I'm trying to remember. I think they the ones that had trouble going down the steps. Like she had a fear of steps.
Yes, she did. She did have a fear of steps. Yes.
So I mean falling down a flight of steps even now, like that's not fun. I mean, if you have a fear of steps, like, even if it's something small, and even if if it's me and you, and I got a fear of steps, and you're telling me like it's okay, we only got one more row to go. I might even be tuning it out, but yeah, I think that was part of it, and also the path was also for them a little bit, but not. So like going up, because to get the clue, it was a hike. It wasn't just like, oh, you only have to go up a flight. It was a couple flights. Now, granted, they didn't put it up at the top, thank God. But I mean, it was there were every team was sucking wind when they got there.
Oh yeah. I mean, we saw last season that team, the aerobics team, the guy had issues with the walking down a hill.
Yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. So this is stuff that people have issues with, but they really struggled there, and ultimately cost them because they got to the roadblock and every team was basically already done.
Yeah.
Almost. So
and
you kind of knew they were out, you know.
Yeah. When she even mentioned, I forgive me, I believe it was Jackie that did it. When she got up there, like, that was my amazing race moment. I know we're eliminated now. That's and rightfully so. Okay, get emotional. That's fine.
Yep.
You did it. So.
Yep. That's right. At least they got to do the challenge, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, Jonathan, Anna, obviously they also said they wanted to do dance, right? Did I hear them say that they wanted to do dance? Yeah, he wanted to do dance. Okay.
Yeah, she wanted to, and so they compromised. And in hindsight, I think he was probably right. May not have gone about it correctly, but he was right with probably choosing it because it only took him 3 times. Now, granted, I didn't notice, like, oh, you have to move your hands and your arms and kind of let so you're not so stiff. Okay, like I thought the point was to just try to make it sound good, right? I mean, so that was like, and then he was just, that's when Jonathan really started to get pissed at that point, because he was like, okay, I've done what I needed to do. It's not even my wife's fault. I'm not blaming my wife. It's just, it's a small little detail. I'm mad at myself because he threw his hand up in the air and just went, screw it.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, it's, who knows? You just don't know when you pick when you pick this or that, because you just don't know if it's going to be something that what the challenge fully details.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
So, I mean, yeah, like me, I would have picked Sing, but clearly the dance was a lot easier.
Right.
So,
right.
So anyways, most teams had struggled with the Sing challenge. I'm pretty sure it took Josiah and Alyssa like 6 or 7 times. So, and they finished first, but they got there first. So they had quite the lead. Seemed like Carson and Jack for the dance did pretty well at this. It didn't take them long to complete it.
Right.
But yeah, then basically once you finish those, we had the results. Carson and Jack took first for the dance. Alyssa and Josiah took first for the sing. Brett and Mark took second for the dance. And Jonathan and Anna took second for the sing. Ernest and Bridget took third for the dance. Scott and Lori took third for the sing. Bernie and Carrigan took fourth for the dance, and Pops and Jeff took fourth for sing. And then Nick and Mike took fifth for the dance. Han and Holden took fifth for sing. Courtney and Jasmine took sixth for the dance, and Melinda and Erica took sixth for sing. And Lauren and Jackie and Lauren took seventh for the dance, or I'm sorry, for the sing, and Mark and Larry took seventh for the dance. So, anything to really talk about Mark and Larry?
No, they knew they were in trouble. They knew they were in trouble once they said we can't. I think they were even at the challenge and they were like, we're dumb, right? Something we're not smart. We're not smart. I mean, okay.
Yes, they did say that.
It shows it was like even like trying to put the costume together kind of took them a little bit. Like they knew like, okay, crap, we're in some stuff now. You know, we have to get this pretty quick. And pretty much when they didn't nail it the first time, I was like, they're done, and they know they're done. I mean, they'll make it look close, but they know they're done. You know,
Yeah,
kind of like with Jackie and Lauren. I mean, I think they knew it too.
yeah, Jackie and Lauren for sure. They were so far behind. There was just no way.
Right.
They were pretty stressed out there for a while. I kind of think though, like Mark and Larry, I would have liked to see more of because they had
Sure.
some funny personalities.
Yeah.
They were close and like they had a shot,
Yeah.
but they would have had to nail it a lot quicker than they did. And
Right.
even so, they were right on their tail, but there's no way they're going to outrun,
No.
2 30-year-olds. So
No.
it just wasn't happening. So the firefighter curse lives on, so,
Mm-hmm. And the siblings.
anything that you want to talk about Jackie and Lauren, that, are we going to miss anything with them? I don't
Not
know.
really.
They seem like nice people,
Yeah, they were
but
fine. Like I had nothing
yep,
against them.
yep.
But
But the two oldest teams combined are
yeah.
eliminated. That's not a coincidence to me.
No.
Mm-hmm. Especially with a physical challenge right off the bat. So,
Right.
so, any teams that have, I mean, we talked about it. Obviously, some of these teams had to surprise us. Any teams surprise you in
A
their?
little bit.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised with Han and Holden. I was a
Yeah.
little surprised at that.
Yep. They seemed pretty good actually. They didn't
Yeah.
like crush it or anything, but I think
Mm-mm.
they did a lot better than I thought they would do.
Yeah, and I was also kind of surprised with Ernest and Bridget too. I thought that was kind
Yes,
of
that's the father-daughter team.
correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. They did better than I thought they would. I actually thought Melinda and Erica were going to do a lot better at
Yeah.
first, and then they
Yeah.
kind of fell to where I thought they'd be.
Right.
So, yeah, nothing to, they kind of fell back down to earth, but they seemed like at least that they're not gonna just roll over,
Right.
and I think they were pretty shocked that they were still in the race. So,
Yeah.
overall thoughts on Fork in the Road? Because I know before we started the show, you had some thoughts on it, but
It
what's
was
your
good.
overall take on it?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was good.
Yeah.
My only gripe was or would have been, I don't care what the other teams are doing. It doesn't matter. It's about me
Mm-hmm.
and my teammate. Like, did we have to put? I guess technically they had to. Did we have to put all 7 of the teams up there? Fine, sure. I guess we did. But like,
Yep.
it didn't matter. Because that's the other thing too. Like, which is interesting. I thought this was interesting also. Like, sometimes we see in the first episode, team changes their mind, goes, okay, we can't do this one. Let's try to do the other one. We have absolutely no idea how it was a distance. It had to have been between the dance and sing.
Yes.
A little bit. I mean, it wasn't like, hey, that one, the sing is down on the corner and dance is on the other quarter. It wasn't like that. It was, you would have had to get in the cab and go. So,
Well, yeah, you couldn't change your mind though.
true.
You were stuck.
True.
Yeah,
Which is also why I think they did it this way.
Yep. There was no switching for this.
Yeah. Yep. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I really did. I thought that was, because we've seen it. I mean, it wasn't. I don't recall it last season, but a couple seasons ago it happened.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there's teams that were switching. I mean,
Yeah.
we had Anthony and Bailey last season.
Mm-hmm.
They switched like 3 times, it ultimately got them eliminated. But
True.
Yeah.
True.
But I think it was a cool concept.
Yeah.
I mean, I like when they throw different gimmicks in there. I think it made for good TV.
Right.
But any teams that you were kind of high on, but now maybe after first episode you're seeing some cracks?
I don't like what I'm seeing out of. I mean, I know they technically finished there, but technically Scott and Lori, I don't really like where they're sitting current. It's just a
We were pretty high on them last week.
Yeah, I just have a vibe on them. I don't really like where Nick and Mike are sitting, even though, they did.
That was the podcasters, right?
Yeah, the entrepreneurs and podcasters. Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the team I was. Yeah, they showed some flags. They got really frustrated really quickly.
Yeah.
I think like when they got something wrong, they're like, "What do we do wrong? What do we do?"
Yeah.
That team could be headed for an implosion potentially too.
Yes.
So
yes,
it's something to watch out for.
Yep.
So, but it is only week 1, and we have seen teams struggle in the beginning and then somehow figure it out and take them pretty far. So, but yeah, no, I think this could go really in any way, shape, or form. It's still a very open race. I don't know if Carson and Jack are like a dominant team yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They looked good first week, but like right now, I think Brett and Mark are ahead of them even. So
yeah, I would say
yeah, I think they're probably going to be my number 1 team this week in the power rankings. But yeah, Nick and Mike are probably the team that I think they can get by, but that's one team where I think they're not as high as I thought they'd originally be. So, so all right, let's go through our power rank. Oh yeah, let's go through our power rankings.
Okay.
I believe I started last week.
You did.
So why don't you start for 12? Who's your 12th place team right now?
12, I have Melinda and Erica.
Okay.
I just think that's the mother-daughter team for those of us that I just that age is just it's going to catch up. It has to. It's I think Pops is because Pops. I'm not faulting them at all. They could surprise me, but they finished 6th. That's not great, right? Not how you technically want to start. I mean, so it's survive in advance because that's all you're pretty much trying to do in the beginning. You're just trying to survive in advance, however you can do that. So I have them 12.
Well, actually, wait, you're saying the Lumberjacks, right?
No, I have Melinda and Erica.
Oh yeah, Melinda and Erica. Yeah, they were 6th. Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 12 team right now is definitely Courtney and Jasmine. I don't know. That's pretty colossal, epic fail, kind of not being able to get a cab for so long. I just don't really have much faith in them. I think they're lucky they beat the firefighters, the retired firefighters that, the Friends. So I don't know. I don't think they're in the race too much longer. So that's my 12. I'll start with 11. 11, I think I'm going to go. Yeah, I probably got to go Melinda and Erica. They showed some fight. I thought they impressed me a little bit. They weren't a dominant team by any means, but I'm going to put them at 11 because I think they had a better performance than Courtney and Jasmine. So I'm going to put them at 11. Who do you got at 11?
11, I have Nick and Mike. They're I think their youth is going to play a factor here at some point. But they did enough to get by for 1 week. So.
Yep. All right, then you start off with 10.
10, I have Courtney and Jasmine. I just think it was just a little bad stretch. Now you're right. Like they're in trouble if they can't get a cab because they can't pronounce words, which I'm not faulting them. Like it's written however it's written. So, I just think they caught a bad little stretch there with Caps, and they're not going to win or anything. I'm not saying that, but
right. Yeah, I think they're just too. For me, they're just too passive.
Yeah,
too passive. You got to be aggressive, and they weren't really aggressive. So they, I mean, they might be able to skirt by, but yeah, I don't know. I don't see it. All right, for my 10, I'm gonna go actually Hahn and Holden.
Okay.
I think that was better than what they've. I had them last week. Had them pretty low. So they didn't look bad though. I will say that, but I can't really put them any higher. Hahn and Holden right now, my number 10. For number 9, I think I gotta go with. I'm gonna go Bernie and Karajan.
Okay.
I didn't. They weren't featured really much in this. They're in really good shape, but I don't really have high expectations for them. So I'm putting them at 9 right now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
My 9 is Scott and Lori, who technically did fine, like as far as the challenge goes, but I don't like. I can't put my finger on exactly what I don't like about it. What I like about them, but it's just it's something. I have to wait another week here to see, but I don't like what even though they did well, like they also really didn't get shown a whole heck of a lot either.
Not a ton, but I think they had a good They kind of showed them their backstory a little bit. So
true.
But you had them very high though, so I can
did.
see why you were maybe a little disappointed with them.
8, I have Hahn and Holden. I was wrong. I'm gonna say that a lot. I was wrong. They impressed me. So I have them at 8.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I bumped them up a little bit, but I still got to see more out of them. But yeah, they're definitely not the brother and sister team from last season. That's for sure.
Right.
So, all right, for my 8, I think I gotta go. I know it's weird, but I think at right now, I'm gonna go with Ernest and Bridget.
Okay.
I don't know if they just had a good leg. They also really weren't featured a ton.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I had them lower to start off, so they gotta prove me wrong quite a bit. But I'm bumping them up to 8. But as of right now, I think they had a good leg, so I'll put them there at 8. For my 7, I think I gotta go. Oh, this is tough because there's some qualities I didn't like from all 3 of these teams. But for my 7, I think I'll go Scott and Lori just because they're older.
Okay.
I didn't think they had a bad leg per se, but I still hesitant to put them up that high. So Scott and Lori, my 7.
I'm gonna go. See, part of me wants to put Carson and Jack here, even though they finished first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they can repeat that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I hate this.
It's tough. It's tough. I think we're in for I think there's teams that can I think we're going to get a lot more, I guess, fluctuation.
Yeah, I'll go Ernest. I don't feel great about them.
Okay.
And then
so you're going with Ernest at 7.
Ernest at 7.
Okay.
I just think they're really better teams out here. I'll go for 6. I'll go Bernie and Kerrigan.
Okay.
Because they weren't shown.
Yeah.
But you know what? They've technically finished 4th. So
yeah, that's true because
they
I think
must
the
have
first
something right.
14 from
Yeah.
Dance defeated the first place from Sing. So
Right.
Yep. Okay. And that's your 6. Okay. So then my 6th, I'm going to go for this one. I'm going to go Pops and Jeff. That's down 2 spots from where I had them. I thought they were a 4th place team. I may have been a little overzealous with that, but they didn't do anything terrible except for Pops not putting his feet into the bamboo.
Yep.
So I'm bumping them down to 6. But I do want to see more with them. So, but yeah, I don't know if they have what it takes to even get to 4.
Right.
Probably not, but I'm putting them at 6 for now. But I'm not feeling good about them. Not as high as I ranked them for the preseason. So,
right.
For my number 5, now I know it's kind of high because of how bad they shown, but I'm gonna go Nick and Mike. They have some red flags. As I could see, they're very impatient. They get frustrated pretty quickly, but they're also very competitive too, which is a sign. So I think they can do better. I think they can do better. So I'm going to put them at 5, but they're trying to, I mean, if they do this again, they could be towards the bottom next week. So
sure. I'm gonna go Pops.
Okay.
On Jeff at 5. That's about as high as I think I'm going to rank them this year.
Yep.
Season, but I got it wrong, and I'll admit that I got it wrong. And I was with you. I was with his son was saying the same thing. Use the holes when you're climbing.
Yes.
I don't. That's why I was like, how is he getting up there? Because he's just using straight up arms. And like, okay, like you can do it that way, but you're going to be really tired at the end.
Yes.
So, 4, I have your team, Alyssa and Josiah. Nothing against them. Like, I got to put them somewhere. So they're fine. They're a good team. Sure.
They also weren't featured for the first 15 minutes of the show, which
Correct.
I thought was weird. But then like they started I thought, I mean, then they all of a sudden you just saw the personality come out, like with the Yingling comment. That was hilarious.
Yep.
And the karaoke. Yeah. Okay, so my 4. Right now, this is very, very tough. I'm gonna go Jonathan and Anna, your team.
Okay.
They're very competitive, but they have combustible elements.
Sure.
And I don't know if as weird as it is, I don't know that I like that they had a year-long break, which to me seems like, they may argue quite a bit. But maybe they can get over it because it, clearly happens. But there was some cracks there that I saw, but they're also very competitive. So right now I'm going to put them at the safe spot of 4, but they gotta show me a little bit more going forward that they can kind of be level-headed. But I did like their strategy a lot. So right now they're at 4 for me. 3, I'm going to put my team, Alyssa and Josiah. I think they're pretty likable, but I also really like that Alyssa's a D1 soccer player. That kind of bumped him up because, I just never know with anesthesias that's going to carry them. So I do like that. But right now I got to put them at 3. There's no way I'm going to put them higher than my top 2 teams right now.
Sure.
So who's your number 3?
3, I have Carson and Jack. I know they won. They won pretty convincingly, but I think it could just be a one-off. They are better than I thought. So that would be like another team that I thought, I wasn't sure what we're gonna get. That would be one of them. I mean, hey, you win it, you do pretty good. 2, I have my team. You're right. Like, Jonathan is still pissed standing at the mat, finishing second.
Yeah.
That could be an issue, but they did some things better than I thought that they would, right? Because I was like, oh crap, like they're gonna bring up something when they're walking, and it's gonna have, it's from like 6 months ago, and Anna's gonna go, you remember what you did 6 months ago? And John's gonna go, yep, and that was gonna cause an argument. That didn't happen yet. I think it might, but not right now. So that's my 2.
Yeah, 2, I got Carson and Jack. I'm kind of with you there about, I don't think they're going to be able to repeat that. I think they kind of, I don't know. They had, things seemed to go their way last episode.
Yep.
But yeah, they just, I don't know. The youth helps them in ways, but it also hurts them in ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I think things went their way last episode, but I do think they're a lot better than what I thought they'd be. So I got to put them at 2 right now. And my number 1 is obviously Brett and Mark.
Yep.
Right now, I think they're head and shoulders the number 1 team.
Yep.
I don't know if they're as good as Ricky and Cesar from last season. I don't think they're going to be that dominant, but they ran a pretty good race this week. I will say that.
Yeah, they really did.
Yep. So, but they also had some challenges that really benefited them. So,
Yep.
So, got to put them at 1 right now.
Yep. I have Brett and Mark at 1 also, pretty much for the same reason. I mean, I wish they would have timed him, because going up to Bamboo, he got up there in seconds, like 10, maybe 15 if he slipped,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so yeah, they are head and shoulders the best team, and now I feel stupid for not taking them, because we talked about them and gushed about them. Both of us did last week, and neither one of us picked them.
Yeah, I just, I know we knew they were going to be a top team. So, yeah, right now they're 1, but it is a long race. We just don't know until we know, I guess. So, all right, that's our power rankings for this week. Let's rate this episode. Why don't you start the rating for this week?
I'll give it a 7. Solid. I kept my attention. Solid.
Yep.
The fork in the road was cool. We like that. My only gripe was that there actually might have been, as much as I like the 14 teams, 14's a lot. That's really, really hard when you're watching as a viewer to try and remember, okay, who are they? Where do they start? So that was my only gripe when I was doing the power rankings. Just overall, it was just like, the 14 is a lot to pay attention to. 12 is going to be a little bit easier, but 14 was a lot. Appreciate it. Glad they had it. First time ever. So, but yeah, I'll give it a 7. Good first episode.
Yeah, I'm actually going to give it an 8. Just compared to last season.
Yeah.
Hate to crap on it, but this season's it's just way better. Yeah. Hong Kong had some really good visuals. The fork in the road gimmick that we've never seen before. 14 teams. It was tough to keep track. I'll give you that. But I thought for like the drama that we had and the different kind of storylines, I thought it was a really good episode this week. So I got to give it an 8 for a premiere. I think that's pretty solid.
Sure.
So,
all right. Talk about next week real quick before we sign off.
Yeah. Why don't you? What's up for this upcoming week? Tomorrow, actually.
Yeah, tomorrow. Very strong warrior energy. Very strong warrior energy is the title of the episode. Teams depart for Osaka, Japan, where they encounter an intersection at the roadblock, forcing one partner to team up with a member of another team and complete a challenge performing the Takio drums. Is how I'd pronounce that. So that's going to be good. So they're going to go from China to Japan, and you have to basically, your teammate is somebody from a different team. So
we have seen this.
mhm.
Gosh, I want to say it was like 28 or 29, somewhere around there. It has been a minute though since this has been put into play. It's an interesting concept. Usually they do the intersection the first task.
Yeah.
And then do the normal back with your teammate for whatever the next one would be. So this one, very interesting. Let's see how it plays out. I remember not hating it the first time we saw it, but it is different. I'll say that.
Yeah.
So well, very cool though. I'm liking that they're really trying to keep it fresh, you know. So yeah, should be good. So going to Japan, that's I really like the Asian countries. I feel like every time there's an Asian episode, it's always good. Don't know why, but I just feel like the scenery, backgrounds, the challenges they do are usually pretty good. So looking forward to it. Yeah. Any final comments before we sign off?
Yeah, it should be interesting to see what they do with the intersection and the roadblock. That's gonna be interesting. And it looks like from the preview that the teams that kind of struggled last week continue to struggle this week, meaning tomorrow. But it's Japan, so Japan is kind of always a wild card for me because you don't exactly know what you're going to get. Should be interesting though. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Should be a good time. We will be on next week with Goldberg. Supposedly, he's supposed to be joining us, so it'll be interesting to see his thoughts on the cast of the characters. And maybe we can do I'm sure he's going to want to ask a good question at the end of the show. But since we don't have him on tonight, we don't need to do that. So, but yeah, no, this season looks good. I think we're in for a pretty fun ride. So, yeah. But anyways, that'll do it for Calbert. Do it for Hurls, me, and we shall see you for episode 2 review. See you later.
See you guys next week. Night, everybody.